but I'll start. My name is Tawonga, as can be seen by my name thing on the Zoom. I am 20 and I'm in Zoom. I'm a uni student. Yeah.
So I am Yasha. I am 21. I'm also a uni student, and I'm currently in the UK. And yeah, that's all about me.
Okay, I'm Dozo. I'm 21 as well. I'm from Africa University. Yeah.
My name is Anthony. I'm 21, and I'm also a university student from Zimbabwe.
All right.
So we're all from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anyway, so
right.
Just before we get into the main discussion, this is on a series on relationships, and that's we're going to be touching on that. But before we dive into it, obviously this organization thing is called We Are Not Broads, right? And I found the name to be quite interesting because I went on their page and I looked why they say they're not broads, and it's obviously there's connotations to the word, historically speaking, maybe in context and culture that it was used at back then. And I'm all I don't know about you guys, but when I use the word, or when you use the word broad, what does broad mean to you? What are you putting across when you, let's say, in casual conversation, you say, look at that broad, or she's my broad, or when we use the word in everyday, what are we trying to be demeaning? Is it demeaning, or it's just one of those that it's the meaning has evolved, almost set an example, maybe nigger. Nigger used to be the big bad words, but if I'm talking to maybe in Togo, for example, hey, oh, my nigger, and I don't mean it in any derogative manner. So I don't know, just to hear from you guys, what's your view on the word broad itself?
Wait, hold on. Is there another historical meaning for broad that I don't know about? Because I don't know. Is there a historical meaning for broad except what we use it for?
Wait, first of all, is this conversation censored, or are we unfiltered?
Unfiltered, my G, go at it.
Just do what you want to do.
Okay.
Just be honest.
I think the word broad has never been used in a derogatory fashion. It's just been used to denote someone of a female nature. Unlike, pardon my language, but the word bitches is a word that I know for fact that we've used derogatory to denote females, or just behavior that we associate with female. If your friend is doing something you don't like, you say, hey, stop being a bitch, because we associate that behavior with, but you never say to your homie, stop being a broad. Do you get what I'm saying?
I disagree with that. I've heard so many times people being don't be a broad.
Okay.
I've heard that so many times, fam. But I do agree with you when you're talking about when we use the word broad in most contexts. I don't speak for everybody, but for me personally, every time I say broad, it's mainly just referring to a girl. You know what I mean? Same thing as yabe. These words that are coming out of nowhere. And to be honest, there was not a lot of context as well. That's why I kind of had to ask, say, any other meaning that was in the past. But from my knowledge, it's always been a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I agree with you there in that from as far as I've known the word, I think I started using when we were in high school, and it was a girl, as far as I've known and understood the word. And so, that's why I found the name of this organization a bit interesting in that regard. And probably that's something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people might not know that, always broad might offend somebody to be used.
No,
And
that's true though. Like I feel like it doesn't matter what we think. It's how people perceive it in the way that they kind of do. So the question is, how do females perceive it in that question?
Yeah, but with that, let's if we try to move to to like the topic of the day, been asked to talk about like things like to do with relationships. I see Titch has joined us. Hi Titch.
What's up? How's it guys?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah. So in general, like when it comes to like a relationship, I know it's like a bit cliche, but like what can you say like a typical dude wants from a relationship? Like what's and obviously I don't mean like a relationship with your mother, like a relationship with your brother. I mean like a romantic relationship with a quote unquote broad or a girl. What's going through your mind when you're getting in one or when you want to get in one, and like what does one look for? What is it? What's the goal? What's the gist? What is it in general?
Well, it depends on like your fundamentals of life. What you believe in. How you're raised. What you were taught about women and relationships. I think that's where it starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, as you live your own life, you try to package what you've learned or what you understand about life, and you try to do the same thing when you're looking for like a girl in a relationship, right? So, as for me, I think I would want, a partner. I think the most important thing, I want a partner in life. So, like you don't want to get in there like, hey, please be my partner in life first day. I think the ultimate goal, you want someone who's going to be a partner, right? Someone who's going to be with you during the good times and the bad times, right? But then it takes a lot to find someone like that, or to like get a partner who's going to understand what you like in a person. Then they'll try to be like, because usually when you meet people, right, they're never going to be exactly what you're looking for. There's something that they need to change, they need to improve, or like let go of. Right? Same thing from their side as well. There's some things that when they find you, you might have to. The things about you that they're not gonna like. Then you're gonna have to learn that they like and you don't like, and you're gonna have to try to improve yourself as well. So I think from a woman, like I say, partner, someone who understands me, someone who's going to understand where I'm trying to go, or what I do now, right? Someone who understands my situation. Then, at least we play along someday. We talk, and I've seen some guys talk about like the one women that are more feminine, like ultimately feminine, right? They don't want to the masculine type. I think usually, yeah.
Can I interject though? Can I interject
sure.
like a second?
Sure.
I feel like your description, and I respect it, my G, and I think I'm on the same wave. But if we were to answer the question, what are most men looking for? I'm going to, expose the truth. Most men are looking for, things that aren't going lost. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to, be one of those guys who are like, yo, men are trash. But truth is, men are trash, and I'm not gonna, come and sugarcoat it in some sort of, like context, because I don't know how many boys that I have actually sat down with. And because I'm looking for that, I'm all about that, but I've not really sat down with boys and be like, yo, how many of us want to get married, if you know what I mean? Like, how many people do you know are out here talking about marriage, my G?
Okay, I think with that, with that, it's there's levels to relationships. Yeah.
Okay.
You graduate. It's like your school life. You go from primary to secondary to tertiary, but your goal is maybe your dream job or whatever. That's the end goal. But at each point, you're focusing on what? Getting my grade 7 certificate. getting my O levels, getting my A levels, getting my degree, but with the goal of your dream job. So with relationship, at each point we have different goals, but at some point our end goal is to settle down. I don't know if you keep saying.
Oh,
so
you're saying like right now it's not there yet.
we're not there yet, but we're building towards that. You want thing.
Okay, so I just wanted to put out something real quick. I think we need to be very, very critical of the spectrum that we're going to look at when it comes to men, because being the group that we are, or being the guests and the hosts we are in this, we are different as we are, right? We are raised differently. We have different belief systems. We've got different core values. We've got different end games in life, right? So when we're looking at that is to help us understand what we are dealing with and how to best put it across, right? I'll give my own testimony to say that I've always been very frank with whoever I asked out about my end game. If I was there to play games, I would always be very honest to say that I'm here for a good time, not a long time, right? And if I was there because I wanted a long time and not a good time, then I would be very honest to say that I see a future with us and I want to see how far it goes, right? I'm going to put in the work. Are you willing to put in the work, right? And at the end of the day, whatever reasons lead to their failure or the success of that relationship, but I've been honest with that with what I want, right? So when I get the question, what are you looking for in a relationship? I'm obviously going to tell my truth because that's me. In a relationship, I'm looking for a partner. That's the first thing, because I believe in this world, we all need someone who we can trust, someone who we can rely on. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a partner. I need to know that someone has my back, right? I need to know that whatever I'm going to do, I've got someone who's looking out for me, someone who has my best interest at heart. And I need to know that I'm offering that kind of security for someone else, right? And apart from that, I'm looking for someone who has the same beliefs as I do, not only religious, but okay, fine, the whole spectrum. Someone who understands the way I think, someone who can see why I made the decision and be like, okay, fine, I understand why you made this decision. It's because you are such a person, right? Not only that, but I'm looking for someone who I'm compatible with, because compatibility, wherever you are, is more important when you look at anything, right? Because you can have two broads who you get along with so well, but you need to be compatible with both of them or one of them to such an extent whereby it means something, right? So when I'm looking for a relationship, or when I'm looking into girls or women, right? That's what I'm looking for. Yes, of course, some of these things, they come into play. Things like someone who you can have fun with, someone who you have good physical chemistry with, and so forth and so forth. But at the end of the day, I feel like what separates men from boys is what we look for in relationships, because boys will look for a fun time. Boys will look for a fleeting moment, something to make themselves feel good about whatever they want. And men will look for something that lasts in the long run.
Can I say something? I understand you fully, my G, and I have no beef to what you said, but the thing is, right, we're here to discuss something that is broader than our personal perspectives, because like I look around the gentlemen around here, and I can safely say no one's about that life, no one's out here I can read them, and the room is not about that life, but we're here trying to discuss the issue of, if every man was like us, out here looking for, good, like a relationship and things like that, they wouldn't be the kind of issues that we're there to, kind of address. But here, we're trying to have an open discussion that, like, oh, why do people not think like us? You know what I'm saying? So that's the main issue that, like we need to like kind of address. And I love the analogy about tiers. Like, you need to graduate, like men are kind of like going up this scale a little bit slower than women. And is that something that you guys think that, all men need to kind of like, put across? Because what he also said was you're going to chase them away. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been in a situation where a girl that I really don't want to be with is like, yo, I'm looking to, I'm not proud of that past, but a girl has hit me up and I know I wouldn't have been able to get with her, like if I didn't promise that I was gonna, like be a boyfriend or whatever. So those are the kind of things that, like I kind of come across. Like, does there need to be like a balance between lying so that, she gets that security from you, or, everybody just needs to be truthful? And how realistic is that? That's the thing that we need to, come and talk about.
I think in general, if I can like sum it up in like one word, I feel like it's very superficial. You find that usually, with guys, let's say you're all new in a joint, right? Like nobody knows anybody in that joint. You find out like, the chicks who, have like, they look more physically appealing, or like they look all bougie and all that, they like rise up, in the ranks, and like everybody's like, can you see that? That's that's like the big target for everybody. And because of that, it then becomes like very superficial. You're trying to look at like, how can I impress? And like the number one impressor, is money. If you don't have that green, you're not gonna go anywhere far. Especially like if you're like just like, you just meet people for the first time, like nobody knows each other. Usually the people who then rise above the rest, the more green you have, what car are you whipping? Are you pulling out the iPhone? Are you, rocking, some nice kicks? Are you iced up? If you're like, in like a t-shirt and shorts and, you're putting out like a 2012 Samsung or something like that, you automatically discredited. You're like, nah, not this one. And so because of that, I feel like over time, relationships have got very, very superficial, and they're built on lies. They're built on like things that aren't legit.
So for Nettie, are you also saying that females are also a problem? Because I kind of got that from what you were saying, because I thought this was a man's issue now, but I kind of got a hint that you also think that females are an issue here.
Nah, what I'm saying is, I feel like across the spectrum, everybody is superficial. And it's when the chicks are superficial, they attract a certain caliber of dudes, and when the dudes are superficial, they attract a certain caliber of chicks, and like it just goes back and forth like that. I know so many of our boys are like, I'm gonna start going to the gym. I want to get ripped. I'm like, okay, you want to get ripped? Are you like, looking to get into construction? You need to lift heavy things. Like, you need to be physically strong. That's not the reason. People are getting ripped so they can impress chicks.
I think that one, they will be doing some heavy lifting, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Secondly, I do agree with you with the superficial part of it, and it's something that's like weird, because I was talking to my friend, right, and she was describing to me how her boyfriend was actually a friend's boyfriend before they met up, and obviously controversy goes like a long way, but the thing is, the person was very much known in these streets. So obviously it's kind of like, if you bounce out, that doesn't need to reflect to me, kind of thing. And it becomes more about status and power. And girls, on the other hand, some women are attracted to that as well, and men now know that this is a dirty game. You know what I mean? So you gotta make sure that you give yourself an advantage. This is not like some kind game where you can just lay back and just wait for your opportunity. You have to do something else.
Okay, I've got 2 points. Okay, my first point was what we were talking about was whereby people feel like we need to lie in order to gain access to certain things.
It's true.
A person once explained that relationships are like you're on a bus ride. Let's say you're on a bus from Harare to Bulawayo, for example. You're going to get onto the bus, and then you're going to meet someone on the bus. Let's say you start talking. You don't know this person's destination. This person might be going to Kwekwe for all you know, but you might get too attached to the point where this person drops off at their stop, and then you're like, but aren't you going to Blawayo together? You get what I'm saying? You might not all have the same destinations, which is what you must check first before you get attached.
Facts. No, I agree with that. Like you should always, check the destination.
Mm-hmm. So now, if you feel like you have to lie about your destination, then that's on you. That's your fault. You can.
But that's the thing, though. It's advantageous to lie.
Everybody wants to go to Harare. No one wants to be like, where I'm going to
no one wants to go.
No one's going to go with you to Buera. No one's going to go with you there. You need to be going somewhere where, it sounds fun.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just a very, very good example. If I met a stranger today and I liked the way she appears and she liked the way I appear, we get along based off of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna get to a point in time where it's gonna come down to whether she can pull through or whether I can pull through, right? And that's where you find that the lies will be ripped apart and the truth has to be revealed. Like what Ntokozo was saying, to say that this life is more like a bus ride, right? You're going where you're going, right? And be as it may that you may want to find someone, or you want to lie in order to find someone who you like at that point in time, to go the distance, but you don't know where they're going and so forth. At whatever point in time, when their time to get off the bus comes, or when your time to get off the bus comes, you're going to be forced to get down because that is your destination and you can't change that, right? And that's why the truth in the long run, that's why the truth is more important, because lying may be advantageous. I'm gonna tell you this. There's this thing, or there's this famous statement that says that women like what they hear, men like what they see. That's why women put on makeup, and that's why men lie, right? Everybody is trying to get some, right? And if you want to get some, you can lie your way into getting some. But does that do more good than it's going to do damage? Because if Tich comes and he lies, Ntokozo comes and he lies, Tabonga comes and he lies, and then finally Kuda comes up and says, no, this is my truth. Do you think that woman is going to look at me and think I'm telling the honest truth? No. She's obviously going to think I'm lying. No. More or less, we are creating a problem because we are telling, or we are showing off the side that we say is not a good side. And then at the end of the day, you want to come back and say, no, I'm actually a good person, but I'm advocating for my brothers because my brothers lie. And how are they, the women, how are they supposed to distinguish who's a liar and who's not? At the end of the day, it's going to be Mjolo. Everybody is going to be playing a game because nobody knows who's for real and who's for not. Right? But so why
you have to look at the root cause. You have to look at the root cause. But why are people lying?
Thank you. Like why? Like I don't like nice guys.
It's human behavior to just lie in G. You don't just lie. Your mom doesn't just ask you, how was your night? And then you just think, let me lie to my mom. You lie because you're trying to hide something. You're trying to protect something. You're trying to get to something. And the honest truth is, if we told the truth, women are not as accepting of who we really are. Because the truth is, generally speaking, majority of women want stability. They want, women have this attachment, they want to personalize. But we are not about that life generally, guys. Guys are okay with the sharing. For lack of
don't overgeneralize it. Don't overgeneralize it. I get what you're saying. You just generalize it so much.
Okay, fine. Okay, sorry. But the truth is, we lie in order to get what we want. Because ordinarily, if we had told the truth, we would not have received what we want.
Wait, so now that brings me to the question. So if all of us are in agreement that lying is advantageous, in some way or form, because destinations are different, but regardless, at the end of the day, you can lie to some extent to get yourself ahead, or you can play to the meta, dress a certain way, become rich, become buff, things like that, so like it kind of like speaks to relationships and the state of where they are now. So as gents, as people who are here, what do you guys think of the current state of relationships in 2020? Is everything going downhill from here? Because yeah, is it like like trash, like people, if you were to advise someone would you advise them to be in a relationship at this point in time?
No.
I don't see why not. No, look, I don't see why not.
Let me
Because
tell you,
They
will hurt you.
It'll end in tears. It'll end in tears.
That's why you
should. But like, I don't think you should, like, I would discourage anybody from like, don't do this because they will hurt you to end in tears or anything, because I think it all depends on what you're looking for. See, why you lie or why someone might lie in a relationship will come back to what they're looking for, right? And it's a chain. So I'm saying it's a chain. It ends up bouncing back. If you're superficial, chances are you're gonna get something superficial, and it's gonna be superficial, right? But if you're not superficial, like if you're OG and you're genuine, best believe there's people out there who are OG and also genuine. In general, it's superficial, but like that's not everybody.
Facts. No, I agree with you. Yeah. So I personally feel like dating should still go on regardless of it being superficial or not, because the game is the game, and to some it's working, to some it's not. That's kind of the balance of how it kind of like goes in nowadays. But like as a person that has been like looking and like searching, I feel like at this point in time there needs to be dialogue. There needs to be a ceasefire of some sort of like way, because I feel like this is the first step. You know what I mean? So if anyone is watching this, whoever you are, if you're a guy, fam, stop it. Stop it.
Get some help.
If you're you get some help, and if you're a girl, I'm also really tired of people saying like girls aren't, an issue in relationships, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like there's some girls out there who are finesses out there, you know what I mean? So I feel like there needs to be a balance. Yeah. They're dribblers,
The truth.
So everybody needs to make a change for, like the relationship, state to, kind of like change. But
I think it all starts with this this fear of how people will look at us, to be honest. If for a guy, I don't think there's that much what's it called? What's the term? Sorry. The word ran away from me. A stigma against us for being dogs and what. People like, okay, do you? But from a girl's perspective, you are then labeled. If you're a girl and you want to explore your sexuality or, enjoy your body, you're then labeled what things. You're a hoe, you're what. So it's then that fear that stops girls from being able to express, but you know what? I just want to also have a good time. If guys can have a good time, I can also have a good time. This is why we then can't separate now between girls that want to have a good time and girls that are here trying to be honest. You see now, because of that fear, we can feel. It's like, guys, this guy is not. He's not here. He's just here for jokes. It's not that hard to see. But with girls now, you see there's that, because of that social divide, whereby they're trying to protect themselves, the image of, who wants to marry a hoe? Because I bet you any guy can get married. Best believe any guy can get married. But the same isn't for women, because at some point people will look at you as, like, okay, I don't wanna step on any toes.
Rotten apples. Mileage.
Rotten apples. You see now, that's society's perspective, my self-image. I'm a parade around as a church girl or what, but on the low, I'm a city girl. And those be the girls that are also breaking niggas' hearts, and then the vicious cycle now starts. So
But
it's a cycle.
And I think looking at our time, let's try to wrap it up in the interest of time. But I
Oh,
just want to touch on what Ozo said also about fear. Like there's two sides to it, right? There's a fear, where people are like scared to like do as they please. And then I think on the gent side, we give the boys so much power, so much control that like I don't know about you, but I've been in a position whereby there's this chick, and I'm like, I'm definitely digging this chick, right? But then at the back of your mind, you're like, what will the boys
the
think if I
boys,
bring this hand to the boys?
the boys.
What will the boys think, right?
they
A nice, stable person, right? And you're like, what will the boys think? And before things go anywhere, you cut things off because the boys are like such a deciding factor in things. You're like, yeah,
you
I'm
can't.
not sick on the boys.
Yeah, you can't.
And you leave it alone. So
I,
I'm like the boys have too much power.
I agree with you. The boys have too much power, and I feel like the reason why we listen is mainly this thing that is, like paraded as, toxic masculinity. You know what I mean? Because I've always wanted, like to jab on that kind of thing. Because I feel like the reason why I listen to my boys is because I want to feel like I'm a part of the boys. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm masculine. I'm appreciated, and I feel so big. And I regret. I won't say any names. But I remember breaking up with a girl just because the boy said nope. You know what I mean?
You
Because
see,
I was dead serious, and obviously I'm not proud of it now. But I wanted to feel so masculine. You know what I mean? So
Okay, I just want to agree with what everybody has said, to say that the dynamics have been changing over the years. I feel like what Nto also said is right, to say that the girls need to keep up appearances for the sake of their value on the market, right? More or less. I know it sounds like wait, wait,
hey.
wait, wait.
Oh no.
Like I know it sounds like I'm a bad person, and right, but like they need to keep up appearances, because at the end of the day, like Nto also said, there's a stigma against girls or women who are more open about what they want for themselves and so forth and so forth. Those people, they're not seen the same way as a reserved lady. At the same time, the men or the boys have been given a bit too much power, because I can understand that as we grow up and as we are socialized, we obviously need the validation of our peers. That's why the boys have power. But I feel like as we grow, as we mature into men, like proper men, as we mature into adulthood, now we need to realize that the validation that you need is not from the boys, but it is the validation that you will get from being the person you want to be, right? I have this statement, right, that I got from my boys as well. My boys, I'm proud to say this, but most of the guys who I grew up with, they are growing up to be really reasonable, level-headed men, right? As we were growing up, the boys used to, validate each other and say, no, this is not it. Dump your broad. And I even have a similar testimony where you had to leave a girl because the boys would not agree, right? I am definitely gonna do what works for me. I'm not going to live my life in accordance to what the boys say, because the boys are not going to be with me 35 years from now. The boys are not going to give me kids. The boys are not going to be my right or dads. And that's on facts. Because say what you may say bros before hoes and all of that other stuff. But when it comes down to the going, when people find love, people will ditch the boys. And that's facts.
I agree with you fully, except for one part. I'm okay. Do you want to say something?
Yes, I think let's just do one round of last comments each before we conclude.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? I'm a firm believer in man leading the way. Yeah, I think as a man, you're supposed to lead the way, but for you to do that, first you have to lead your own self. Like you need to lead your own life, right? But how do you do that? You need to know yourself. You need to know, okay, fine, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is my vision, this is what I want to achieve in life.
Yeah.
You need to be very honest. You need to be very honest with yourself too. That this is what I want. This is where I'm at this moment, right? I'm poor, or I'm broke, or I just have an apartment, but I don't, I have a shitty job, or I don't even have. I live with my mom. You need to understand these things, right? Once you understand this stage you're at and everything about yourself, be honest to yourself, right? Then then you know the women that qualify for you at that moment in life. You can't, you can't go for the king when your lifestyle is supposed to fall. You know what I'm saying? You need to make sure that you're at the level where whatever woman you're trying to attract, right, you can match their expectations. But let's be honest.
I love breaking the fourth wall. So again, to whoever is watching this, if you're a guy, just make sure you analyze who you are as a person. Make sure to, look and, to the people around you and try to educate them. Because, these kind of issues stem from a very long time because it's a cycle, you cheat, you lie, it just becomes advantageous for everyone else to do the same and it becomes a cycle and it makes, relationships very much superficial. If you're a girl, first things first, you don't need to keep up your appearance. You're beautiful already. I'm a glorified simp, so I can say this shit. But you as a, as a woman, you need to understand that you need to get your priorities straight, be able to make the decision and, be able to kind of tell the real from the fake. And I know that's a very, a difficult thing to do, but you need to make sure that your options are coming to you and make sure that you make boys work for, having you because you are valuable. So those are the things that I feel are there, and just having the general conversations, and having these discussions, so everybody knows what's happening, in today's thing. So yeah, that's all for me.
I think I speak for everyone that I enjoyed this, fruitful. Picked up one or two things, gave up one or two things, and yeah, thanks for the opportunity that you gave us to do this, and yeah, just like what Lamar said at the end, just don't be that person. Don't be, the person who you would not want someone to be to you. The energy you give out, the energy you're gonna get back.
Right.
And so, if you want good energy from this game, give the game good energy and it'll give you good energy back.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's